na-identify ko, I need leaders. So yun din, if ever you're growing your agencies, if you have someone in your team na parang been with you since the get-go, train them to become leaders like you. Para internally, may progression yung career nila. Again, win-win-win, di ba? So yun talaga ako, I build leaders of the existing teams. If wala, I hire leaders.
Good evening guys and welcome to our pang ilang episode na ba to? Pang 14th episode ng The Why Forward live stream podcast. And tonight, we're going to discuss about agency branding with archetypes. So, basically, ang pag-uusapan natin is how do we optimize your systems for impactful agency branding? Because we all know, 'di ba, lahat naman tayo dito who are freelancers, brand strategists, uh, process business process managers, OBMs, project managers, brand designers, 'di ba? Meron ilan sa atin dito who have aspirations to create their own agency, whether it's a design agency, marketing agency, branding agencies, um, OBM agency, sales funnel agency, etc., etc. So tonight we're going to talk about how would branding impact those systems na ina-apply natin dito sa agency. But before we talk about that, I would like us to welcome yung guest natin, which is hindi basta-basta tong guest natin ha. Matagal na to sa industry, sa freelancing at sa online business management kasi she's a coach. Diba? She has her own community of OBMs and mga systems experts. So, without further ado, I would like us to welcome si Coach Daise. Sino ba si Coach Daise? Ano ba yung ginagawa niya? What's new with you? Ano ba yung mga ginagawa mo sa community mo? Can you share some of your anong happenings and events mo?
Yeah, sure. So siguro top of mind na what's new with me. Look at the picture. Medyo nagulat ako. Meron pang difference from then to now, guys. So, ayun, nakita niyo yung what's new. So, medyo na-reach na natin or nagkaroon tayo ng progress with our health and fitness goals. So,
Uy, wow.
nagkaliig na ulit ako pa nga, di ba? Kung ano na-reach. Hindi ko alam ba't yan ang serial namin. Pero yeah. But seriously speaking, what's a recent update would be we actually recently rebranded because before my community was called a different name, but then we realized parang it's attracting people who has self-identified na they want to become OBMs. But then what we teach inside is not really just OBM stuff. There's mindset, there's manifestation, there's system, there's freelancing tips in general. So we felt na how we branded that group is somewhat limiting the impact that we could, create and help people with kasi nga parang kung ayaw man itong service na to, this group is not for you. So that's why we rebranded and we made it more general, but still aligned in a sense that we're teaching about systems. Because with systems, any industry, any expertise, basta may tao, may proseso, may produkto or service na dinideliver, you would need some structure and systems to help you ensure na consistent yung service nyo. Another update siguro would be, yeah, medyo pagod na tayo lately kasi may sipon, abo. So, I'm sure lately parang uso siya. So, hope all yung health natin, huwag natin pabayaan. But yeah, Thursday, my back-to-back, my full-day event with a corporate client. Also branding, So, feeling ko aligned tong week na to sa branding. About branding din yung tinuro dun sa corporate clients. And then, just yesterday, I get to do what I love talaga, which is speaking and teaching about my passion sa international school sa Pasig. So, and today yun nga, another speaking engagement. So, any place or avenue that I could share talaga, I'm happy. So, I'm happy to be here. I hope kayo rin.
Wow, thank you so much, Coach Days, for gracing us with your attendance tonight. Kasi nakikita ko ang passionate mo talaga when it comes to these speaking engagements, especially when giving value with our communities, the freelancing natin na community, di ba? But Coach Days, can you tell us a little bit of story kung paano ka nakarating dito? Like, what was the journey? How did the journey start? And where are you right now at this journey?
Oh. Sa mga ano to, hanggang alas 12 tayo guys. Hindi, joke lang. But seriously, sige, ano natin. So, okay, the path has been, what started for me was my desire to homeschool my kids talaga. Other people went into freelancing because they saw it as an avenue to, to have another source of income that would eventually become a business. But for me, kasi I used to be a physics teacher, but then, as you know, teachers talaga medyo one of the least compensated dito sa atin. So because I had a growing family at that time, syempre, kailangan maging practical. So I found ways to augment my income or find a job that has higher income. And at that time, uso yung call center. So yung that time, i-ano na natin. Ano ba itong mga taon ba? Nalimutan ko na rin. Basta 28, 29 to. Doon ako, 28 kasi ako nag-graduate. So 29 to 2011. Doon yung working career ko sa corporate. And I always really just start with what I think I'm good at and I'm confident in. And I feel naman I can communicate well. This is also call center, might as well. So when I was a teacher, my sweldo was like 12K. Minus yung mga tax, ano na lang yun, 10K. Eh, yung upa namin, 8,000. So, ang tira 2,000 na lang, talagang yung sobrang budgeted ko yun na pagkulang yung sukli sa akin sa bus. Grabe na yung stress ko. Kaya when I learned about, pwede pala ako, nakapasa ako sa call center. Tapos ang offer, 14,000. Saya-saya ako na nun. Siguro may extra ako. Marami na akong mabibili, may ipon. So it was good for a while. But as you know, especially sa call center here, you know the lifestyle. And dahil financial account ako, mostly American Express Chase, laging gabi, laging queuing, and I had a growing family. So medyo may misalignment dun pa lang. Kaya pala pasaway ako at that time. So alam mo yung present, tapos nagsweldo ka na mag-absent. Ako yun. So, kasi there was just really this growing misalignment inside na I really just wanna be there with and see my kids grow. So, no sobrang lakas niya na, lagi akong nagsa-search online, tapos nakita ko yung, Odes, which is Upwork now. So, sabi ko, totoo yata to. So, binibuild ko siya binibuild ko yung profile ko. Pero nung panahon yun, dahil hindi pa ako maalam sa online, parang hirap na hirap akong i-build. Saka parang, totoo ba ito, baka sayang effort ko. Tapos, pasok na lang ulit. Hanggat soon enough, one day, I saw Brother Bo's video about homeschooling. And right there and there talaga, I decided, this is how I wanna educate my children, especially kahit sa early years lang, like preschool, kinder, early elementary. And the vision was so clear and the desire was so strong. I didn't know how I will do it yet, but because I made that decision and my heart and mind was in it, there's really this alignment that I've never felt before. I left call center. And because wala kaming maasahan, talagang sariling sikap kami mag-asawa, I knew I still needed to contribute sa finances. So, balik ako. I really look inward ulit. What am I good at? Lagi namang communication, speaking. So, Google ako, like English work from home jobs, as in literal, English work from home jobs. As lumabas si Rare Job. Rare Job is an ESL instruction company for Japanese citizens. So, doon ako, yun ang unang nag-apply ako, tapos, okay, tapos kinumpute ko, uy, pwede na, parehas ang call center halos, or kung mas marami kang oras na ibubook, okay. And at that time, I was happy with that. Because the focus of my season in life at that time is really to be with my kids. So kung may nakita akong, uy, halos kalang call center, happy na ako. So that was my transition. And kasabay ni Odes yun. So parang side by side sila. And then from there, na-realize ko soon enough, with the internet connection problems, at that time, medyo unstable yung connection ko, nakaka-affect sa work, and then mahirap din pala pag ESL kasi by booking siya. So minsan, pag walang nag-book, nakatenga ka, walang bayad yung tenga. So parang inconsistent income, so hanap ulit ako. And then nakita ko yung VA. Sabi ko, ano itong VA na to? So syempre, basa-basa tayo. Try ko mag-apply. Kasi feeling ko naman, di ba parang pag-interview, bubulahin mo lang naman, parang center. So feeling ko gano'n, hindi ko masa. Kasi ang minimum requirement nila, kailangan 6 months experience. So na-reject ako with my application. But then, competitive ang lola ko. So pag nireject ako, lalaban ako. So talagang dinamdam ko yun. Sabi ko, ba't ako reject nito? So talagang inaral ko. Because again, my desire was, nireject mo ako, pero I need income pa din kasi hindi enough to. So inaral ko talaga naman yung VA. So talagang open ako Google Doc, nag-search ako ng mga VA jobs, tapos kinapaste ko yung mga description, responsibilities, hanggang soon enough, parang I saw the bigger picture, I saw the recurring task, And then apply ako same company pero lumipat akong recruiter. Tapos nakapasa ako. Pero at that time, may na-close na rin ako sa oldest na client into parang outbound representative work naman, na may admin work. Sinupdate ko rin yung CV ko. So the lesson I learned there is, if you really want it bad enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. Like going back in our own, challenges siguro in life, pag gusto mo talaga, kahit dasdas na yung salitangin, pero totoo pag gusto mo may paraan. Pag ayaw mo, dami mong excuses. So kung may gusto kayo i-pursue guys na hindi nyo pa na-actionan, baka your heart is not really in it. So you need to find clarity in that aspect muna. Para pag nakuha nyo na yun, all in kayo. And then again, going back, so 2012 was my first online stint, VA/ESL. So for 3 years until 2015, okay na ako dun sa dalawang yun na hindi parehas consistent. Kasi early pa ako sa oldest nun. Until nung pagdating nung a little around 2017, I met a guy. So nakita kong webinar niya. Pero yung 2012 to 2015, dahil nakikita ko na yung VA, na-realize ko, ay, pwede palang more than one client. Kailangan lang, okay, ano ba yung capacity ko ngayon? Ano yung kaya ng oras ko, ng katawan lupa ko? Kasi baka go ako ng go, tapos na palang tulog. Kamusta naman yung health? Saka, priority again, season in life. Always cross-check that. I have growing kids. So, kailangan, the best version of me should be for them. Kaya nga ako malis ng corporate Ba't ko iniwan yung security and benefits nun kung mapapabayaan ko rin sila? So, I think that's what has been helpful for me, to not lose myself in the process of achieving my goals. Always just aligning it with the season of life I'm in. And ano ba yung mahalaga ngayon? So, isa-isa lang. Hindi ko kaya lahat. And then, so, noong 2012 to 2015, parang 3 clients na mina-manage ko. Tapos, pero gabi lahat sila kasi US US, may Australia pa nga yata ako. Pero, in short, income was good, but the hours were not. Wala pa sa night shift sa call center. And then 2017, I met this guy. May webinar, just secrets of a 7-figure business, freelance business owners. Totoo ba ito? Itsura na ito akong driver. Tapos naka-quote lang. Tapos, yeah, that's how I met John. And from there, yeah, that webinar talaga opened my mind. I said, I always see this. That's why I'm forever grateful and indebted to that guy. And that's why I'm paying it forward. And I'm sure mga tribe members dito na may mga sariling brands, that's how you also want to share about freelancing, because we're essentially paying it forward because we saw the impact and the possibility of how you can really change your life through freelancing. So that's what I did. So when I met him, dun na-open yung mind ko, I can charge premium, and then I could parang really work with clients that I identify with. And then, the hours became better, the income increased. And in 2017, I enrolled in a fully booked OBM certification program. At that time naman, my pain point was, happy income, aligned clients somewhat, pero parang there's more pa. Parang, I feel I can do more pa. Pero parang recurring na to, redundant na yung task, parang nabobobo ka ba? Or parang naghahanap ka pa. Means, the thing with us people is we're really never contented. Kahit pa sabihin mo, kontento ka na. There's always something that's gonna come na you feel, especially pag aligned sa'yo, na parang pwede to, parang pwede kong matry. So for me, OBM was that. Kasi ang nag-catch naman sa akin is, you can earn the income that you want, but you just want 2 clients. So that was ang galing copywriter, hit niya yung pain point ko. So yun, 2017, I joined that class. Luckily at that time, I was also a marketing assistant na. And yung client ko, pinapagawa ko ng mga ESL slides. Tapos sabi ko, ano ba to? Di ba alam tayo mga millennial, mahilig tayo ng purpose, kailangan, I'm making an impact, blah, blah, blah. So matanong ako. So sabi ko, para sa itong slides na to, bakit kailangan mayroong naka-red, may naka-highlight? Bakit iba-iba yung text, hindi puro black lang? Sin-explain niya sa akin. Tapos pinaaral niya sa akin yung product launch formula ni Jack Walker. So that opened me and made me gain knowledge around product launching in terms of courses and products and digital marketing as well. And at the same time, inaaral ko yung OBM course. Pero parang module 2 pa lang ako because of the locked-in na na-meet ko si John and my mindset opened. Parang tumapang ako. Sometimes it really just takes one person to believe in you Kasi minsan tayo nag-overthink and nag-self-doubt. So when he pushed me, I declared to the world, I'm an OBM. This is what I do. I help people with product launching. Kasi I always, again, go back to what I know na. And at that time, I know launching. So that's when my first offer was OBM for product launches. And John challenged me to get up after our call kasi he reached out to me. Sabi niya, gusto mo mag-call tayo? Ako, syempre naman. So, umattend ako ng call, tapos shinare ko yung challenges ko. Tapos sabi niya, sige, challenge kita. Kuha ka ng client. Dapat 1K na. Tapos 1 week, bigyan kitang time. Competitive ako. So, feeling ko na nakita niya yung side ko na yun. Siyempre, laban no, kahit the pressure. Pero yeah, within that week, I was able to close my first premium client, but it's not at 1K. It's at 4K as an OBM. So then the rest is history. So now, years forward, I've since become, I think I've explored a lot of industries. Wala na yata hindi ako naikutan. International and local, from e-commerce to coaching, to fitness, to health and wellness, to mindset, to money, to real estate, to health. Naikutan ko na talaga siya lahat. So, and that's because with OBM kasi, our service is really more inclined into the problem itself. We're not tied to a platform, to a trend. Any business that has people, a service, or a product you're delivering and needs fulfillment would need someone to handle the operations. That's why medyo okay kami, at least the OBMs. And yeah, since then, yun nga, pre-pandemic, the last 2 years, I've let go, hindi naman let go, I've intentionally chosen not to work with international clients because ang hirap pala pag 6 kids tapos iba-ibang grade levels. No homeschooling kaya pa, pero kasi this year, one of my daughters, she wanted to go to school na, so medyo na-disrupt yung schedule namin. I have 15-year-old, 14 na hino-homeschool, together with a 7-year-old and a preschooler na 4. And then my daughter na nasa school is grade 6, she's 11, and then I have Riley na 4, and then si Hope na 1-year-old. So medyo crazy schedule. So because of that, sabi ko, I cannot work with international clients. Although they agree naman na okay, hanggang 11 yung max ko, it still doesn't work eh. And again, aligning it with my season in life, ano yung mahalaga ngayon? Mas mahalaga to. Kasi raising teenagers pala, coach, ang hirap. I'm learning. Ang daming heartaches. Mag-ibo na sila. Anyway, mga parents, I know you can relate, lalo kung may teenage kids kayo, oh my gosh, the transition. So I'm learning, I'm growing. So I really want to manage that. Kasi again, going back, why did I work from home? Because I want to be present. At least, habang kailangan pa nila ako at maramdaman nilang andyan ako. Yun talagang biggest source of guilt ko. And whenever I feel na parang nawawala ako dahil sobrang kabisihan, my eldest grounds me. Sabi niya, ma, lagi ka na naman busy. Wake up call yun for me. So it grounds me as well. So he's my anchor. But yeah, medyo nawala ako doon. So yun, and then because of that, puro ko local na coach actually now. For the longest time, I thought walang pera sa local. But then I realized the past 2 years, I was just speaking to the wrong market. Kasi may pera sa local, guys. And yeah, so because of that, I transitioned to offering fractional COO services na. Kasi more on partnership, strategic partner na ako ng companies and organizations. And I also, I have a community where I teach people to do what I do. Whether systems yan, para, ano mo yun, you enjoy, if you fell in love with freelancing, enjoy it. And kung na-overwhelm ka, there's systems to help you navigate that para ma-sustain mo to. Kasi I think pag experience mo sa freelancing, hindi ka na babalik sa corporate with the freedom lang that it gives you. And with OBM naman, my vision for my community talaga has always been to educate to elevate, because I want to help raise empowered, financially stable, and happy Filipinos, especially women and moms. So yeah, that has been my North Star for the past few years. Ayun lang, sorry na pahaba guys, but I hope medyo nakilala niyo ako through that and you gain a little bit of tips na din along the way. Thank you, Coach Daise.
Actually, ang ganda ng story, no? Thank you for sharing that very inspiring story. Did I hear it right? 6 kids ka ngayon, Coach? Grabe, no?
Yes.
So, it's very amazing that you're able to juggle yung being a mom and having this platform to teach people on how you create systems. Tapos meron ka pang other ventures as a fractional COO. So, grabe. Saludo sa'yo, Coach, di ba? And yeah, speaking of, I've heard a lot of during my listening sa story mo, I heard a lot of words like clarity, alignment, which is very interesting kasi that's the whole purpose of the branding process, of brand strategies. Di ba? Yung alignment at saka clarity. So, speaking of alignment and clarity, our first question pala na galing talaga to sa community is, may connection ba ang branding sa systems? If there's a connection, what's the role of branding in systems?
Oh, I see. Yes, there is. Pero quickly lang, I wanna acknowledge, I saw my student, si Ange, and yung comment niya, kaya ako napangiti, iba daw pagpalaki yung BTS.
Oh,
True, dear. But yeah, yes, coach, and yes, everyone. There's a connection between branding and systems. Mainly because okay, what is a brand ba? So I'm not an expert in branding, but I've worked with companies and organizations that have launched brands from talagang ideation, brand identity until execution and launching ng physical stores or the brands itself. So how is it connected? So diba, a brand is okay, so it's more than just a logo. It's the identity itself. It's the values that you wanna have as a brand. It's the service or the promise that you're trying to fulfill. So for me, quickly, yun siya. But then it can go more than that. But just grounding us with that to ensure na okay, um, you're able to deliver on your promise as a brand and maintain the same level of quality of your output or service. You need systems in place. So how systems come into play is to really ensure in ensuring that every touch point of the consumer or the customer with your brand is cohesive and consistent, and that they feel na through that experience, okay, through that experience that dahil nga it's always uniform, it's always consistent, it's always really quality, they get to remember and recall your brand more and trust you more through the process. So for me, that's how they're connected.
so ang galing, no, kasi branding itself, kung kasi yun nga, 'di ba, yung brand meron siyang brand promise,
Mm.
meron siyang tagline, pero kung hanggang brand ka lang, hindi mo siya ma-execute ng maayos, 'di ba? So
Mm.
eventually, naging surface branding ka lang, hindi talaga yung substance talaga ng branding, which is ano ba yung purpose, vision, and mission mo, 'di ba? And if you don't have systems for that to ensure the quality and consistency ng pag-deliver, pag-execute mo ng mga brand promises mo, then eventually hindi ka magla-last, 'di ba? Hindi ka magsa-stand out talaga.
Yes.
So it's very interesting that you said that, kasi that's what we teach here also sa community. But here's the thing, curious din sila. Paano mo daw ma-ensure na aligned yung systems and operations na ini-implement sa agency brand value and messaging? Like
Oh,
how do we make sure na aligned pa rin sila?
oh, I see. Well, of course, right off the bat, it takes a lot of conscious effort. But in terms of how systems will come into play into this, dun papasok yung that you have documentation of how you do what you do. So, brand agency or marketing agency, essentially your businesses are here to solve a problem, right? And if you're such brand, then okay, how do you ensure na you are consistent in providing that service at the promise quality na you said to your consumers? So one way to ensure that is na-document natin yung how we do what we do, our processes, our structure, and that's a starting point because for me, when it comes to focusing on what systems to fix, for me talaga service delivery ang first. Kasi pag okay yan, the rest can follow. Marketing and sales, next mo, and then the rest will follow. But in terms of ensuring na, sorry na wala tayong question, ensuring na align siya, yeah, document your processes. And since if you're a brand already, hopefully, hindi ka na lang solopreneur, you want to ensure it's documented because so everyone in the team will have one single source of truth that they could go to. It could be as simple as a Notion hub, a Google Sheet hub, din nandun lahat ng information, lahat ng processes. And it's not just processes on how you do what you do, but even, okay, guiding principles nyo as a brand. Because if you're a team, you also want to ensure that the culture that you want to reflect or to impact the world with is embodied by your team members, diba? So doon ulit papasok yung system. So from the documentation of how you do what you do, how do you then also spread and ensure that everybody in the team is embodying the values that you want as an organization? So all of those i-document, put in one hub para kahit absent si Coach Dave or si Cyril or kung sino mang team member, any asset that you need from them, you could just go to one place para anybody who needs to do it will still be able to do it at the same quality. So walang change kahit wala yung tao. That's how you become scalable if the task is no longer dependent on you. but then you ensure the quality is consistent because it's documented clearly. And then also, if you have those processes, make sure you train the team or the people that are gonna do it, gonna execute it, and crucial din yung having regular feedback sessions. Kasi brands evolves and systems and operations are living aspects of your brands. If your business grow, the brand, or sorry, the processes and systems will also evolve. So kailangan ng constant feedback system para updated lagi.
Ayun. So, what really stuck sa akin sa sinabi mo, Coach Daise, is yung yung culture. Kasi last time, just a little bit of recap, last time nung may guest din kami about corporate branding, ganun din yung in-emphasis niya na we make sure that the culture that we want to, yung parang, ano ba tawag ito? Like yung culture na gusto nating ipakita sa
Yeah,
customers,
embody.
or stakeholders, embody natin, di ba, sa community or to the world, should also be embodied by our team members. So, importante talaga na when it comes to systems or even sa agency, yung culture is maintained within our team members. So, speaking of yung sa systems, kasi sabi mo, talagang i-document talaga, di ba? Yung mga ano nila. And I agree because for us to maintain the quality of work that we deliver to our clients, kailangan natin mag-set ng standard, mag-document tayo, and so that we know ano yung mga benchmarks natin that clients will be satisfied with or will be amazed with, di ba? So, the next question here, what are ways to integrate yung mga brand guidelines na sinasabi mo kanina sa pag-document natin into the agency workflow?
Okay, so I would go back to what I said earlier to answer this question. Okay, one of the quickest way that you can integrate your brand guidelines sa workflow na mismo of the team, of your agency, would be to equip the people to be able to do so consistently. And again, step one ko dyan is, diba, we document and then we have the hub. So assuming na lang na everything's documented, or at least there's a documentation or even kahit Loom lang that will help show that person how to do it the way you want it is there in that hub. That's number one. Pero with this brand guidelines, I'm not just really focusing on like yung brand guidelines of the brand itself na in terms of identity, like cohesiveness, in terms of brand color, of the tone of voice for the messaging, but also again incorporating the culture. Mahalaga kasi yung culture for me talaga. For me, in how I humanize operations in this digital age talaga is people first, process, structure, and tools second. So if you want to ensure consistent integration of the brand guidelines and the brand identity na din and values in your workflow as an agency, again, number one, document your processes, have a hub that people can always go to. Second, incorporate that in the processes within the agency. So kung medyo doon tayo sa design aspect siguro, and experience even. So diba, you're delivering a service, let's say, and you have a way to deliver that would make the client happy. So that's the brand experience. If you could incorporate that in your processes internally, like as simple as team member onboarding. So if you could sustain the momentum and apply the same level of intention and excellent desire for excellence delivery and experience for the client, dapat nga mas na-experience din ng team member mo. So also ensuring na the brand promise that you do for your customers in terms of cohesiveness of branding and the experience itself is also experienced internally by the team members in different processes. And I think that's way that you could integrate it because it essentially gets embodied kasi it's a daily process. So let's say for the HR team, yung nag-hire, yung OPM mo coach or PM, when you onboard team members, diba, the experience, consistent. Tapos they see how you onboard clients, consistent. Unknowingly, sa subconscious na may nai-embed na idea na, talagang this is really what our brand is about. So that's culture already. But then if we want consistent integration, you need to, diba, I said people first talaga. You need to equip and empower the team. And you do that by equipping them and empowering them through tools, documentations, and also your support as the CEO. if you want high-performing team members that, are aligned consistently in adapting yung brand identity nyo, it has to start with you. If you want high-performing team members, you need to be a high-performing leader. And for me, it starts with the values talaga. Kasi if you want them to, dapat, 10 minutes before our meeting, nandyan ka na. Nandyan na kayo guys, para we start on time. But then ikaw mismo late ka. What culture are you setting for your team? So, yun yung sample, Coach.
Yeah, so interesting enough kasi you're very heavy on emphasizing yung sa mga people, the team, diba? So, follow-up question nung about sa integration ng brand guidelines. Kasi sa amin, the brand guidelines also include kung ano yung mga archetypes, diba, na ginagamit natin when it comes to personifying yung brand natin, but also with what type of people we are attracting sa brand. So, I consider teammates or employees kasi as customers din ng brand.
Yeah, the
Diba?
internal customers, yes.
Oo, diba? They're the internal customers. So with that said, how do you fit yung archetypes sa systems, especially when integrating yung brand guidelines?
Oh, I see, I see. Dito lang. So, can you, I know very little about the archetypes. Can you quickly give me an overview, Coach, ng brand archetypes?
Yeah, so yung brand archetypes kasi is created by Carl Jung, and it's a psychological parang yung tawag dito, like psychological categorization of a group of people. Mga 12 archetypes kasi ito eh. And
Yeah.
describing
Nakita ko lang, please. Hanggang doon lang yung
kung ano yung mga personalities, traits, strengths, and weaknesses when it comes to ano nila, how they interact and react to certain mga brands and other marketing na mga tactics. So there's the innocent archetype, the nurture archetype, there's the regular guy
Pero
archetype.
Coach, di ko alam kung tama yung na-take ko. Yung akin yata, ano ba yun? Royalty/Empress. May ganun ba?
Royalty Empress. Baka yun yung parang ruler archetype.
Yun, ruler, yun.
Yeah. Ruler. Yung mahilig sa control. Actually, lahat talaga ng mga OBM, mga process persons or guys, people, mahilig sila to to take control, take charge of the systems and stuff. Ayaw nila yung mga hindi predictable. Tama ba ako?
Tama. So, tama naman pala yung result ko, no, Coach?
So knowing na ganun yung mga archetypes, where does it fit sa system? Does it go sa hiring or does it go sa pag-attract mo ng mga team, pag-build ng culture or creating the voice of the brand? How can you see it applied sa agency branding?
Okay, so let me Coach, get my understanding. How do we apply and implement systems in the context of the different brand archetypes para alike sila?
Yes.
I see. So for that, I would say the systems that we're going to be building here, at least adapting or creating, would be more on ensuring consistency in messaging in alignment to these archetypes. So sample system would be like for messaging. So really understanding the characteristics and traits of these different brand archetypes and how that would translate in the delivery of service. Like for example, yung sa ruler nga, gusto namin, gusto namin things are in control. But that doesn't mean we're control freaks. Somewhat lang. But it's because, so understand, di ba may marketing research kaya like really understanding ako, needs, pains, and gains, ano yung mga psychographics, and mga beliefs, blah, blah, blah. So just applying that to the ruler archetype, I would say, dahil siya gusto niya more in control in the branding side. So siguro brand guide in sense na the colors, okay? What do you think are important for these people, di ba? Kasi when I did my brand guide, I hired a few brand strategies ba yung Coach, yung tawag. Tinatanong nila ako na parang, okay, how would you describe your brand? What are the words, adjectives? So I would say it's more on, if ako'y brand strategist, the system that, at akong kinuha mong systems person mo, and yun ang objective natin, I would help you develop a system that would allow you to capture the characteristics of these archetypes in a way na would be easy for you. Kasi usually, I don't know how you do the research, but I'm imagining I'll hop on calls with different people just so I could help identify, maybe make them take the test and then identify it. I would hop on a call with them para I would get pa in their own words how they identify with the results, if it makes sense, which part it doesn't, and ano yung vision nila in relation to the result. And then, syempre kung Zoom call yun, magta-type ka, makikinig ka, recorded. So, a system to help the CEO or the brand strategist be able to capture that with less, division of attention. That could be one. And even yung process of yung pag-discuss mo nun dun sa prospect na to. So, a system to capture the information para pagdating sa call, ready ka na. More on alignment na lang. So, you also save time. What else? Feedback after the session para you could improve on your process. So, more on service delivery yung focus ko and the product development. And then, maybe a process for follow-through. So, medyo nag-focus ako, coach, if brand strategist ka and you want to ensure na the service delivery of what you do is aligned in terms of these archetypes, yun yung mga sample systems that I would build. And then what else? Maybe a follow-up session with that. And then again, I go back always doon sa system to structure my workflow. Kasi kung marami, sorry for the dog, kung marami kayong kinusap for the day, lahat yan nasa isang Google Doc, baka mahirap. So really, the systems that we'll develop is focusing first on the service delivery part. Also, understanding ano yung characteristics nitong taong makakausap or at least the client ko. So baka yung client ko rin may ruler archetype. So iba siya sa siguro yung medyo free-flowing. Baka ayaw niya ng straight to the point question. Pero kung archetype na ruler, gusto niya mabilis. Gusto niya may structure. Gusto niya sa call, alam mo na yung tinatanong mo, hindi yung free-flowing or hindi yung pag nagtanong ka dire-diretso. So more on also understanding, coach. I hope you're getting what I mean, pero if not, you could ask a follow-up.
Yes. Actually, yes, actually, it makes sense kasi ganun din naman talaga yung purpose ng archetypes to see who are we attracting as our internal and external customers kasi we're speaking of systems, di ba? So we have internal and external. So yung archetypes, as we use it, it confirms, galing na kasi sa'yo, which is a systems expert, it confirms na how we're using archetypes today is correct kasi ganun nga, from service delivery up to how we talk to them, how we structure the questions, paano ba tayo, kasi pati yung mga sales closers or mga lead gen people, they should make sure na their tone, voice is on brand but also empathetic or has empathy to the person they're talking to using the archetype. So, ayun, it makes sense na ganun yung sinasabi mo. So, ayun, the next question pala, Coach, ang daming question, no? So, ito, how do we adapt down systems and operations to maintain brand trust and reputation? I think na-answer mo to, but yeah, let's try to have a more comprehensive siguro na explanation about this.
Sige, coach. So I would related to my talk yesterday dun sa international school kasi I also kasi mga creative sila. So Meridian International College, yung MINT, so mga creatives talaga sila na students. Puro Gen Z pa. So for me, how we adapt systems and operations, again, to maintain brand trust and reputation, goes back to my concept of humanizing operations. I tap there. I think my third point is when we use technology or tools or platforms to ensure consistency with the brand itself. So that includes the experience, the trust, the reputation. Number one is the intention. Like, okay, why are we adapting? Why are we using this? Just because it's the trend doesn't mean you have to, especially if hindi siya aligned sa brand mo. So always implement technology and innovation as long as in the context or in the lens of ensuring its alignment pa rin to your overall brand vision. Second ko, in terms of the actual processes and systems, siguro, as I mentioned earlier, as your brand evolves, the systems will evolve. So how you maintain adaptability is by being agile. So constantly being able to also be aware of what's knew what's the trend in the space that we're in relation to the service we're offering, and checking if, okay, are we going to do this or not? Again, the intention. And then if it is aligned, then audit the existing systems that you have, and then how you could make that adaptation to improve the existing systems and processes that you have. Because ultimately, the goal is mas mapaganda si brand, mas maganda yung experience, because the more you improve, the better the service delivery will be, the happier the clients will be, and word of mouth will just follow. And, sales is good, service is good, income is good, and the brand just establishes its position more in the space. And hopefully, with that, with a good client experience, ano, you get more inbound leads. So parang for me, that's one way to put it. Another step would be ensuring then na you have a structure to maintain quality delivery. So doon na papasok yung mga KPIs, performance evaluation na, okay, this is how we're doing now. Kasi kung merong new trend na you're considering to adapt, if you're considering to adapt it in the first place, may nangyayari. So, para mo na maiisip na kailangan mo yun kung hindi mo alam kung yung nangyayari, and paano mo ma-identify na, ay, ganito na kasi yung nangyayari sa atin if you don't have, KPIs or metrics in place to make you see objectively if you're really fulfilling on your promise or not. And internally with team members, how do you ensure as a business owner, as a CEO na your team members are also at par with the standards that you required of their roles to begin with, kung walang ganun. So, constantly auditing, but then also have really strict. For me, strict is important. So, again, ruler, diba, yung archetype ko. But then, important yung strict tayo sa simula because structure is foundational, guys. Kahit pa experts na kayo, and creative people, and experts din yung hinire nyo, or kahit pa training nyo na how to think, dahil may SOPs, how to do what you do the same quality to may SOP. Kahit may ganun, it's still your business. It's not theirs. And if you've been doing this for a while, my team members ka, yung years of you doing this versus them is still not the same. So you expecting them to get it right away with a proper setting of expectation na, oh, ito yung responsibility mo, and this is how we measure kung ginagawa mo ng tama through these KPIs. If you don't have that in place and binato mo lang sila, learn on the job, for me, that's unfair because you can't really expect them to get it right away, even kahit na a few months na sila from you without proper guidance. And if wala kang structure na ganun, you're essentially equipping your people or setting them up for failure, which is unfair to the person. So again, it goes back to the core value. If excellence is one value that you want your brand to be known for, and your team to embody, then it needs to start with you again as the head. Kasi as the CEO, you lead the organization. More than the vision, it's also the culture embodiment and yung how you work with each other. So for me, having the structure in place is important because pag sa simula, nag-gets na nila anong tama, anong mali in the context of your business and how you deliver service. Pag nakita mong gets na nila, then you let them go. That's when kasi trust is established. But for me, structure is important. And with the international and local companies, agencies, corporations I've worked with, the disconnect happens there talaga. Iba yung idea ni business owner sa gusto niyang pagawa sa team member at iba yung intindi ni team member. Kaya laging may mismatch, may misalignment, may putting out fires. Kaya nasasabi yung line na, nag-hire pa ako, dapat ako rin pala gagawa. Sana ako na lang. If that is the case right now in your business, be honest with yourself. If you think about it, it's really not a people problem. It's a process problem. And wala yung process na yun, at hindi clear yung process na yun because you did not set it up properly to begin with. It goes back to you. Alright? Sorry, Coach, medyo naging passionate tayo doon, pero I hope nag-land din sa inyo, guys. I'm open for follow-up questions.
Yeah. Actually, ang ganda no nung sinabi mo. The first thing that really stuck sa mind ko nung sinabi mo na before we follow trends, let's see kung align ba talaga sa brand and if it could take our brand further to the next level. And the good thing about it is we make sure talaga to parang recurring audit at the same time, merong measurement, merong mga KPIs, metrics that we keep track of so that yun yung parang structural basis natin if we're improving or not yung brand
Yes,
natin.
may follow-up pala ako doon, Coach. Nalimutan ko
Yeah.
sabihin. Kasi, di ba, sabi ko people first. So yes,
Yeah.
structure is a process. But
Mm-mm.
then, that structure came into play because we're thinking ahead na on how we can empower these people. So it essentially started with the desire to really build, team members that are high performing. That's why we built the structure. But then once you implement them, do not neglect their opinion. How you build a scalable company is more than just being adept with the times. It's more than just providing quality service to your customers. It's more than just hitting your income goal so you could gain more assets, hire more team members. It's also essentially about ensuring your internal customers, your team members are happy. So definitely, pag may roll out tayong process, dahil lalo na kung first trial yan, ask for their feedback right away and involve them in the improvement of that para they would feel heard, they will feel na ay oo, si brand na to talaga, they listen to their team members kasi if they feel that, kasi they like you na eh, that's why they work with you. Especially with this generation, I think there's a study by 2025 or 2028 yata, majority of the workforce are gonna be Gen Zs. And Gen Zs, huli sa like millennials, medyo mababa sa kanila yung compensation, monetary gains. They're more about relationship, impact, those things. So other things mas mahalaga sa kanila. So if you want to have a sustainable business, if yung profit side, customer side, the experience, the reputation okay na, do not neglect, definitely do not neglect the team members. So always include them in the implementation. Once it's implemented, ask for their feedback. And in improving it, always ask for their feedback as well. Kasi it has to be a win-win-win. Win for you as a business kasi yung reputation mo, okay, so sales are coming in, inbound leads are coming in. Win kasi na-deliver your service, but at the same time, who executes on your brand promise? Sinong gumagawa ng trabaho? It's a team members. So you have to include them too. So win-win-win. Because if you make them feel heard and valued, they will trust you more. And they were more likely than not want to see your brand grow, want to see you win. Because if you win, they will win too.
Ayun, ang galing 'no kasi, nung sinabi mo na ano din, you don't expect them to, at the first moment na hinire mo sila, 'di ba, na diretsong malalaman nila kasi sometimes it's not a people problem, it's a process problem, yun yung sinabi mo kanina. So, naalala ko din yung sinabi ni, Gary Vaynerchuk on a talk that I saw live sa hindi yung live talaga sa US, yung live lang sa ano, sa live stream. Sabi niya na merong nag-question kasi na, how do I keep my people more productive, more improvement pa, ganun, lahat-lahat that they will work 100% effort the same as me. Ganun yung sinabi ng ano. Well, Gary Vaynerchuk said na, you don't expect them to do 100% of the work. You don't expect them to give 100% commitment kasi it's not their business, it's your business. Swerte na lang tayo kung 50 to 60 to 70% yung mabibigay nila na commitment and effort towards your business because it's your job as a business owner to give. Kaya kung kulang, kung 70% lang sila, it's your job to do the 30% na kulang. That's why
Agree.
we have processes, di ba? The
Yes,
business should have processes kasi yun yung sasalo sa mga mistakes, sa mga mishaps, sa mga lacking, di ba? So,
yes, coach. And yung
naalala ko.
sinabi kong yun na coach, talagang recent learning ko yun eh. So I would say mga 2021 ko siya na-realize. Because, syempre, to save time naman talaga, you are experts, di ba? Kasi less training. So, nung nagsimula ko ng hire ng experts for my team, I was under the impression na, ay, expert na to. Onboarding ko lang, di-discuss ko kung ano yung gagawin, gets niya na. And that was my biggest learning mistake. Kasi, ang ending, so yung linya ko rin, ako rin pala gagawa. Sinabi ko rin yun. So, para ang ending is, ay, ganun. But then when I really, took time to understand it, parang na-realize ko, this is my business. This person, she's an expert, but she has a way of doing things. And the issue was, I want it done my way, because that's what the clients um, are familiar with. Kaya gusto ko siya ma-align doon. But then dahil expert siya, inassume ko na magigets sila. So that's why, whenever I onboard team members talaga, 2 weeks, meron silang immersion schedule. Para lang, so on-board mo na sa, okay, this is the brand, this is what we do, our clients, blah, blah, blah. But then, first day, you don't dump everything to them. lalo na kung OBM yan or mabigat yung role, ma-overwhelm yan. First day pa lang. So, parang the experience is not, okay, di ba? So, di ba, we mentioned kanina, experience should be consistent as well to your internal customers. So,
Mhm.
because of that, sabi ko, ay, kailangan schedule. So, yun, bigyan natin ng enough time for them to really get a hang on things, get a good handle on things. So, it could be as simple as day 1. Oh, dito ka lang muna sa how we do market research. Day 2, okay, how do we actually identify that our positioning statement or brand? Day 3, ganito. Para lang di sila ma-overwhelm. So, some
Nice.
suggestion lang pala yun, Coach.
Yeah, actually, nakakatuwa kasi ganun yung ginawa ko sa first hire ko. Na-explain muna ano yung paano ko ginagawa, ano ba yung itong strategy ko, what's the step 1, step 2. So, it's really amazing that I'm having this confirmation from someone like you who's also a systems expert. So, ang ganda. By the way, Coach, ito, mas personal na question kasi tanong nila, what are the things that you learned in branding your own business? So, how did you systemize it, and how can you systemize it if you're going to do it again now?
Ah, oo, nice. Napasmile ako kasi if you check niyo yung IG ko, guys, makita niyo yung brand development.
Wow.
Kasi, um, ano ba? So, okay, so, before I answer this, ito yung pinanggalingan yan. Hindi ako aware paano nagsisimula ako sa input ng branding. Kasi na-focus ako sa something tangible, not to say na branding isn't, kasi now more than ever, I saw how much time and brain power talaga it takes to develop a brand. So I have increased respect talaga for brand people. But when I was starting out, akala ko, ganun din lang siya. Parang, ay, kailangan lang yung colors consistent. Kailangan lang may mukha ko, merong may quotes, merong, yung mga ganun lang. So, tapos, depende sa mood. So, nung una, dahil bata-bata, medyo pinky-pinky, girly-girly. So, parang ako, okay na yun. Tapos, nung biglang napunta sa operations, ang hirap pala, kailangan matapang na yung color. So, focus talaga ako sa color. For me, that's a brand. But then, na-blur yung lines ng messaging ko, kaya halo-halo yung na-attract ko. Ano yung nakilala ko pa BTS, napunta pa ako sa purple. Meron mga, siguro mga 1 month na purple yung branding ko. Pero anyhow, what I learned, if I would redo this, how I would systemize it, internal processes ka talaga. Like, uupuan ko. Okay, who am I? What is it that I'm doing? What is the message I'm trying to share to people? What is the impact I'm trying to leave? Yung mga mas malalim na stuff. Kasi, yun yung unclear ako. But then, I guess, it was also because nag-evolve eh. Pero kung siguro mag-start from scratch ako, kahit gano'n kasimple pa lang yung offer ko, kahit as a VA, kung nalaman ko na siya, baka mas natuto ko makuha ng kliyente na hindi nakadepende sa platform nung nagsisimula ako. Or mas nakuha kong mas aligned siguro kasi my messaging was clear. So if I would restart it, incorporating systems, I'll document. Kahit isang Google Doc lang, upuan ko talaga, who am I as me and what is my brand about? What am I offering? Ano yung promise ko? Sino ba yung gusto kong tulungan? Yung mga simple things na dapat ako may sagot eh. Hindi kailangan, kasi naisip ko lang yun, tinanong ako ng brand strategist. Parang ako, na-focus lang, ay may need sa system, sige magturo tayo. Doon kasi talaga nagsimula rin yung systems class ko na parang nakita nila, ay, maraming kids nag-freelance, nag-homeschool, paano? O sige, Zoom tayo. At gusto mo mag-course? So parang it came from a need kaya nagkaroon ng course. Pero yun, starting from scratch nga, I'll document what I do, my vision. Kasi if you want to think long term, yung pa isa, in planning, in building systems, think long term, not lang short term. So the systems I build should be sustainable enough na it could stand long term. It could be as simple as documenting what I do, my vision to my brand, my goals, and then putting it in a hub. Mahalaga talaga yung hub. Kasi nung simula rin, scattered ako. So really, meron ako all-in-one business hub. Everything about my brand, my business, my customers, my services, my products, links, customer feedback, nasa isa lang. Para may go-to place ako at hindi na maubos yung oras ko kakahanap. At dahil sobrang gulo, tinamad na ako, mag-Netflix lang. So really that intentionality. And ano din, yung system for feedback. Kasi, especially if I'm just starting out, I'm basing what I know lang based on my experience. I'm an experiential teacher kasi. So whatever I teach, rest assured, napagdaanan ko yan. Kaya I could give you insight. Pag di ko pa napagdaanan, hindi ko tuturo. I would either direct you to someone else who's the expert in that, or yung someone I know na pinagdaanan na yun. I never teach what I haven't experienced. So, in the context of that, I would also really just be intentional in that aspect of building my business para hindi siya all over the place and mas cohesive din. So, ayun coach. Yun for me, yung biggest learning ko. Kasi it's gonna save you a lot of time, resources, money-wise. Parang 5 yatang strategies na. Pero all of them has been helpful kasi if I think about it, yung season in life ko na yun, I think the brand reflected naman eh. It's just that nag-evolve din ako. Pero kung constantly evolving yung brand mo, kasi we are dynamic individuals, diba? Nag-grow din talaga tayo. I think as a system that would best capture that ever-changing you, hindi na lang yung outside space eh, yung ever-changing human persona, ano lang, Google Docs to document my thoughts. Like a way that I could dump my thoughts, my vision, and then a place that I could go to every time for everything I need. Yun yung top 2 siguro if I could simplify. Ayun, coach.
Ang galing, no? Kasi for me as a brand strategist, meron na kasi akong process na ginagawa ko. But yung mga hub, yung mga SOPs, yun mga medyo weakness ko yun. So I'm very thankful for process and systems people like you, Coach Daise. And you also, actually yung OBM ko is estudyante mo, which is si Ange. And she's very amazing at what she does. Sa ano niya, di ba? Sa testimonial na to. Charot.
Yes.
Yung yung sinasabi mo na hub, yung mga SOP, processes, documentation, very helpful talaga siya when it comes to systemizing, arranging, organizing, all those stuff that needs to be done consistently dito sa business and sa brand natin. So, ayun, thank you so much for sharing that kasi it further strengthens yung parang yung learnings ko kasi I'm just like you, coach, na hindi ko tinuturo yung mga hindi ko na experience. Just like Alex Hormozy said, the best way to do content, diba, or to teach content is to do shit and talk about the shit that you did. ganun yung pagka-word niya talaga eh. So, I really like it na ganun din yung style mo when it comes to those stuff. So, a little bit of break pala for the people here who's watching sa stream natin, di ba, dito sa Google Meet, and all those people who's gonna watch the replay. If you're a brand strategist or a freelancer who wants to create their own personal brand or an agency brand, di ba, and you want to discover your unique archetype, kasi yung archetype for me is the first step to know kung what type of brand ba yung i-build natin. So, then you can have you can scan the QR code, or Sai will put the link sa description ng post ng replay or sa chat dito sa Google Meet, and you can take the quiz and you would know ano yung top 1 to 3 archetypes na dapat mong i-embody sa brand culture mo at saka sa brand identity mo.
Question, coach, on that one. Kasi yung last na take ko nito, I think this year, nag-change ba si archetype?
No. Hindi. Talagang always constant yan. Kasi study yan ni Carl Jung eh. And it's parang proven book talaga na brands are using this, big brands, big corporations are using this to pinpoint sino yung mga customers na gusto nilang i-attract. Ano pa mga other insights that they have not touched on, especially kung very heavy on KPIs and metrics. Sometimes kasi merong mga hindi ma-define, hindi ma-measure ng mga factors, di ba? And they try to see it in the eyes of yung using brand archetypes. So kasi psychological, ano to siya parang siyang psychological, but it's
Carl Jung, no, coach?
Yung brand archetypes.
Hindi, yung nag-study Carl Jung.
Carl Jung, yes. Carl J, yung niya is J-U-N-G.
Oo, sorry. Kay Ange, may tanong mo kay Ange. Ange, dito ba yun? Yung sa kung saan nakabase yung isang era ni BTS. Di ba parang may psychology?
Yes.
Di ba?
Ano pala sa kanila eh.
Doon talaga ako na-catch, coach. Doon ko na-connect, coach. Doon ko na-gets.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes. So grabe to, it's widely used. It's a very old concept and framework to build your own how to you kasi 'di ba
Yes.
ikaw you want to humanize systems. Ito, this is one of those steps and one of those concepts and frameworks to humanize your business. Ganon. Kasi pinopersonify, 'di ba? Yung yung brand.
Persona. I love it.
Yes, oo, tama. So, ayun guys, you can take the quiz if you want so that you can start thinking on what should be and what could be your personal brand. So, going back to our session here. Ito, Coach Daze, can you share some examples kung saan you help scale a company's operation that enhance its brand identity? Ayun.
Sige, sige. Let me think. Pili ako ng, sige, examples on how I've helped scale companies operation at enhance. Okay. Sige. So, ito yung biggest, biggest, what the tawag ko? Proudest moment. Proudest moment and biggest learning then. Ito yung corporate client ko. So, when they got me, they were like a team of over 100, almost 200 people. And then, pre-pandemic to guys. And then, when I joined them, talagang magulo. As in, sobra. Pati yung tao magulo. Yung utak nila magulo. Kasi, the business idea was just an experiment. So, trinay lang ng mga investors. Tapos, pandemic. So, the line that the CEO said is exactly this. We're like a baby that became an adult overnight. So, grabe talaga yung scale. Ang bilis. And because ang bilis, they had no time to find the right people, to fill the right seats, to be responsible for that growth and scale that they're experiencing para yung promise ma-deliver. So, anong nangyari, the people that were there initially when they were just experimenting became the people that became the heads, the managers. So, pagpasok ko talaga, kaya magulo. Pero sabi ko, people first, process second. Kahit anong implement nila. Meeting dito, training dito, platform doon, wala. It's because the people are not equipped. So pagpasok ko talaga, the first thing I did is organizational development. Or dev in a sense na starting with auditing the people aspect of that organization. Kasi what I noticed is that I would say 95% misaligned. Like you put someone with no managerial experience, no leadership experience, no customer service experience in a managerial role. No. Kaya ang daming bad reviews. So, ang dami talaga. And they were getting by because nagagawa ng paraan. Yes, nagagawa ng paraan. That's great. They were agile. They were able to adapt. But grabe yung stress. Kaya when also I check in with the mindset, the feelings of the team members. Kasi before I implement a new process or sistema, I ask the people kasi sila mag-implement. So when I ask them, they're overwhelmed, they're burnt out, they're unhappy. Kaya rin taas ng what they call this, ang tawag doon, I forgot the term, yung attrition ng company. So, sanga-sanga talagang problema. At because of that problem, kaya ako rin drinap iba eh. Kaya rin siguro ako napunta sa local lang kasi I saw the need. So, when I came in, okay, we built the process starting with, the intention of ensuring that this is aligned with what the people need in relation to where we want to go as an organization, as a brand, and then slowly building the processes. So processes would involve people, and then the structure of how to do what we do, how to implement what we're trying to put in, and then supporting them and empowering them through the tools such as documentation, SOPs, looms, and automating things by creating or saving time by creating hubs like all-in-one hubs in a Google Sheet, in Notion, in ClickUp, and automating what can be automated. Because not every process should be automated. Just because it can be automated doesn't mean it should. So iba rin yun. So yun talaga, more on people and then process and then structure And because unti-unti naming naayos yun, first talaga is, dahil gusto natin efficient and effective, ay yung pagpasok ko kasi coach, ako lahat eh. Parang ako yung HR, ako yung accounting, ako yung procurement, ako yung biz dev, even though they're not my expertise. But I have foundational knowledge on them. And then dahil sa I know how to make my work easier, na-identify ko I need leaders. So yun din, if ever you're growing your agencies, if you have someone in your team na parang been with you since the get-go, train them to become leaders like you. Para internally, may progression yung career nila. Hindi would want to start, again, win-win-win, diba? So yun talaga ako, I build leaders of the existing teams. If wala, I hire leaders. So first 6 months, I identified the positions that needed to be filled out. We started hiring, simultaneously building the systems to make the work of the people more efficient. And then nung pumasok na yung mga heads, so I hired an accounting head, HR head, procurement head, biz dev. Napunta na ako sa pinakataas as the COO. So I was able to function more because my headspace has less things to worry about because I only need to speak to the 5 people. Of course, I interact from time to time with the people below the org chart, but who's accountable to me are the leaders. Whatever we align on, we discuss to implement, ibababa nila sa tao nila. And then I have the structures, the KPIs, the metrics to help me see na naka-dashboard if we're hitting it or not. So, and then feedback loop. So because to improve yung internal system, which is the people and the processes, the experience for the customers, the service delivery became better, and they're able to fulfill more what they promised to. Ang number one promise nila kasi is speed. Medyo bumagal. Hindi medyo. Over negative talaga yung bagal. So but then their product was really a niche market and super need. So kahit, kahit pangit kahit mabagal, pinagtsatsagaan ng market. But then, when we were able to improve that and napansin, mas dumoble. Like 9-10 figures to guys. Ganong level. That's why now, they're now in they have 2 buildings or two penthouses na nandun yung office in Alabang. And they're now over 2,000 plus team members. And they did not just attract clients like customers, partnerships, and nagbunga na ng anak-anak na iba-iba pang businesses. So for me talaga, biggest win siya and biggest learning experience because doon ko naikot. Kaya sinabi ko parang naikot ko lahat ng industry because of that. Real estate, wellness, even VR, virtual reality, like, di ba, yung doon. Doon talaga na-open yung mind ko. Pero grabe yung stress, guys. Kaya doon ko na-realize, kailangan align pa rin. Kung gusto ko mag-corporate, kailangan align client pa rin. Pero yeah, it was good. So yun ang sample, guys. I hope that helped.
Yeah, ang galing, no? Kasi for me, Coach Daise, hindi lang brand identity yung na-improve or na-enhance eh. The brand equity mismo. Building partnerships, expanding to expanding yung market share. Diba? So, ang galing.
Ang para lang ano yung size ng company na to. I cannot disclose kasi because of the NDA, but one partnership that they were able to tap was Manny Pacquiao. So naiintindihan ko rin yung brand shoot eh. Kaya naiintindihan ko yung ideation ng concept kasi kasama ko at talagang kailangan yung coordination time Manny. Ang hirap. Moody siya eh. So kailangan yung shoot. Yung shoot namin, yung short na nandun yung logo. Photographer hindi na-inform. Naalala ko, yung stress ko, mababalik ko. Yung photographer hindi na-inform na hindi lang si Manny ang kukunan. Kailangan nakita yung logo sa short. Hindi nakunan. Busy na siya para mag-fly siya sa somewhere. Ay, naku, delay talaga yung project. So yon, and then another is yung expansion ni Glenda of Brilliant Skin sa Thailand. That's one. So talaga. Okay. And URCC and local mga governors. Yes.
Yeah. Ang galing. Parang alam ko na ano to. Kasi parang nanararo down din. But anyway, amazing, no? Kasi hindi lang basta-basta yung mga partnerships na build nila. Diba? So, using your systems, it's not just hindi lang nila na establish yung brand identity nila, but they were able to build brand equity. I'm sure when we hear kung ano tong brand to, mare-recognize to. Tama ba ako, Coach Daise?
Ano kasi to, mga venture capitalist sila.
I
Baka
see.
the baby brands na
Mm,
launch na, pero the main one, medyo quiet sila. Pero let me just double back on what you said na the systems I built. It's
mm.
not really me. Kasi people first coach eh. So I would
Okay.
say the systems I implemented won't work if they
Oh,
did not cooperate and they did not see the vision. So so dun din yung brand consistency and alignment nung sa workflow eh. The
yeah,
systems I implemented and I suggested to be rolled out is aligned pa rin sa overall brand vision. But then
nice.
again, they cooperated because I started people first.
Yes.
So it ties together, coach.
Ang galing, ang galing. So, anyway, Coach Days, actually, that was the last question. So we're opening now, diba, the floor to anyone who has a question. Kanina nakita ko may nag-raise hand. Sorry kung nilower ko kasi we had to bring out muna the questions from the community. So Jennifer Rosales, I saw your hand raising kanina. Do you have a question for Coach Days?
No, I think I just accidentally pressed it, but I
Oh,
don't have a question, sorry.
I see, I see. Sige. So, does any one of you have any questions about Coach Days, kung about sa systems na ginagawa niya, how you can also improve your own systems sa pag-deliver niyo ng service niyo, or any other questions that you think Coach Days and me could help you with? Ayan, Ange. Sige, Ange. What's your
Yeah.
question?
Hello, Coach. Yung sa akin po, kasi kanina you emphasized about the feedback system, yung magkaroon talaga ng feedback system, lalo na pag may bagong process na in-implement. So, I'm having a little challenge lang po about it kasi minsan, when we implement a new process, pag tinatanong ko yung team if kamusta, okay ba, ganyan-ganyan and all, I don't know if they're scared or they're shy lang to give a feedback. Pero ano po kayang pwedeng maging next step doon para ma-encourage sila to give an honest feedback dun sa process para mas ma-improve pa namin?
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, thanks for asking there. Ako, what I do, kasi, yeah, that happens. They are afraid, you're not sure if what they're giving is, real good feedback or are they just saying what you want to hear. So, para makuha ko yung gusto ko without pressuring them, I do a form na anonymous. So, parang feedback form, no name, focusing on ito yung system, ano yung gusto mo, ano yung ayaw mo, what do you suggest, anything that you think could help improve this process. And yun. So usually pag wala yung name nila, they're blunt, brutally honest, kasi walang babalikan. So kung small team yan, tapos dahil kilala mo yung team mo, so alam mo yung tone of voice, blah, 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 doon ma-identify mo na. Pero yun, that's one thing I do, talagang anonymous feedback form. And then, what else? Yung ano din, yung dun din papasok din yung before we ask for feedback, we need to position it well in a sense na, okay, why are we doing this? What's the intention of us asking this feedback? Kasi minsan, baka natakot sila kasi, ito talaga yung nangyayari, hindi maganda, kaso baka ma-offend ko si Miss Ange, hindi naman yun ang intention ko. So minsan, we also just need to share their intent. The reason why we're doing this is ultimately to improve the process, which will make their work easier. So pag nag-gets nila yung dear, medyo mas luluwag-luwag yan at mag-open.
In 3 words, set the expectations talaga. Ganun. So, ayun, Ange, I hope na natulungan ka ni Coach Days. Ano?
Yes.
Ayoko yan.
So, natulungan ba kita, sabihin mo kung hindi okay lang.
Of course. Thank you po. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ayun. So, anyone else who has a question for Coach Days before we proceed to the most important question? Ayun, si Gian. Sige, Gian, what's your question?
Opo. Dinig po ba ako?
Yeah.
Yan. Ang question ko lang po about sa, like, for example po, yung mga hubs, mga Notion po, ganun. Kasi po, weakness ko po kasi talaga, parang sa una, a-apply ko siya. Tapos, after few days, few weeks, parang wala na siya ulit sa sistema ko, parang ganun. Ano po ba yung best practices para maging consistent dun sa ganun. Kasi po, alam ko rin po yung importance nun, katulad nga po nung sinabi nyo kanina, parang almost every point nyo po talaga parang bumabalik dun sa hub eh. Parang yun po kasi yung parang standard talaga. Kaso nga po, weakness ko po yun. Paano po bang best way para po i-approach yung ganun?
Yun, ganda ng question ni Gia. Nakita mo maraming nag-react, saka napatawa kami ni Coach Dave kasi hindi ka nag-iisa dear. Talagang usually ganyan ang challenge. The key there is when it comes to creating systems for yourself or even for your team, you always have to take into consideration your personal strengths, preferences, and tendencies. A system that worked for me may not work for you. So always take it with a grain of salt. And again, i-align natin. So, for example, linear thinker ako. Ayoko ng Kanban. Ang daming pababa. Gusto ko ipababang ganun. Gusto ko, okay, task done, ganun. Ikaw, gusto mo, makikita yung connections. Gusto mo pala mind map style na naka-Kanban. So, di ba, medyo misalignment na tayo. So, what I would do, if I were you, gagawin ko dear, over the weekend, maglinay-linay ako. Like, okay, ano bang gusto ko? Sige, I understand and see the value na kailangan meron akong hub para mapadali yung save time ako at alam ko kung saan hahanapin mga bagay-bagay. Pero hindi kasi siya hindi ko nasusustain. Why? So I would find the answer to that. Bakit nga ba? Can you answer now? Like, why do you think hindi mo siya nasusustain kahit nag-try ka naman? Gian, sorry. Ano to? Parang live ko.
Ano po? Wala lang, di lang po parang tinamad lang na parang ayoko na mag-Notion, parang ganun po. Or pag minsan po, for example, feeling ko alam ko naman siya, hindi ko nagagamitin, mga ganun po. So, yun po yung mga naging, sa consistency po minsan talaga, or madalas po talaga eh.
I see. So, that could be one answer. Kasi tinamad ka lang. But then, tinamad ka because baka medyo hindi align talaga yung system na you're trying to build. Kasi, kaya katatama rin kasi baka mahirap i-build or maraming steps. Ang dami. Gusto mo na mag-rest or weekend o kaya may client work ako, mas priority yun. So, usually kaya tayo, di ba sabi ni James Clear, if the task is too big enough, make it small.
Break it down.
So, what's the least that you could do? So, in relation to, balik tayo sa intention. The intention is clear eh. Gusto mo maging efficient sa work mo. Gusto mo may hub na. Gusto mo ma-manage mo yung workflow, which is great, di ba? But then, in relation to that intention, align with your capacity. Ano bang kumakain ng oras mo now? Baka kasi tinanamad ka kasi mas may urgent, o talagang pagod ka kasi, dami mong ginawa. So, in relation to your capacity now, what's on your plate, what's eating up your attention, your time, your energy, ano yung next best thing, one small step that you could do para magawa yung gusto mong intention na maayos yung workflow. Baka kasi Google Sheets lang naman. Or baka, nasa Viber ka, si Viber may to-do, may yung notes niya, pwede mong gawin task eh. Kung mas active ka doon, baka mas ganun yung sayo. O baka, ayaw mo nagsusulat. Baka gusto mo naririnig. Di mag-audio ka, tapos gawin mo reminder, na may reminder to remind, yung alarm mo. Okay, task due, ganun. So, aligning it with your personal strengths and preferences, and i-test mo yun. One small step lang na mas aligned sa how you function, how your brain thinks, yung capacity and energy mo, and test it out. And then see kung mas masusustain mo siya. Usually talaga kaya hindi nasusustain kasi hindi aligned sa capacity. And when I say capacity, not just with time, but also your mental energy, your emotion, and physically, lalo na. So hanap ka din ng mas aligned doon. Ang daming platforms, ultimately Notion, ClickUp, Asana, Airtable, they're all the same in function, na iba lang yung features.
Tama.
So, in systems talaga, i-align nyo sa personal strengths, preferences, and tendencies, and yung how your brain thinks, guys.
Ayun. Gian, pwede mong i-take yung archetype quiz para malaman mo kung sino ka. Yung mga
Explorer ako, coach.
Explorer, okay.
So you like to talaga to
Explore.
Parang spontaneous type ako eh.
Gusto mo yung parang adventure palagi, 'di ba?
Oo, parang ganun po.
So I think hindi mag-work yung mga hub sa'yo. Kasi, yung mga hub, yun yung mga type of tao na gusto nila na everything is in one place. Pero ikaw kasi, di ko alam kung totoo to, Gian. Based lang to sa archetypes. Malikot ka ba magtrabaho? Like, if you want to, transfer here, transfer there, yung mga ganun.
Opo, opo.
Oh, so,
I see.
so I think the hub won't work with you. Ako din kasi, I have that tendency na parang explorer na gusto ko interactive yung pag ko. So I really like the Kanban na minu-move ko yung mga tasks, ganun from backlog to in process, in progress, and then in review. So it really depends. Try to find the best system para sa'yo.
Yan, ano ka ba, dear? Sorry, coach. Sorry.
Sige.
Gusto ko lang tanungin, when you do your work ba, medyo gala ka rin? Sorry. I mean, gusto mo sa coffee shop, gusto mo sa beach, or lately naman sa bahay ka lang?
Baka.
Before po ako napilay, gusto ko po talaga nag-work sa coffee shop, ganun po. Ewan ko, pag maraming tao, feeling ko productive ako eh. Parang ganun po.
Parehas tayo.
Ngayon po sa bahay, yun nga po medyo dahil nga po yung setup ko dati ganun, parang productive ako sa labas. Ngayon nasa bahay ako palagi, parang yun. Minsan dragging, pero change ko po yung mindset ko. Pero yun po, to answer the question, yes.
I see. Kung nasa bahay ka, dear, now, lately, baka rin kasi, coach, dahil nasa bahay siya, I mean, just the context ng where do you usually work? Kasi of course, dahil explorer siya, may iba talaga. But then, I would say, siguro, majority of the time pa rin, merong parang top place and style of work ka na medyo fixed, na may onting structure. So just in case may ka, like for example, meron kang table na doon ka nag-work sa CR na baka yung traditional, coach, yung corkboard or whiteboard.
Yeah, yung parang office style.
Sulat.
Yeah. Ako ganun ako, mahilig ko sa whiteboard, yung mga ganun.
Actually po, meron po akong parang bumili ako ng dump pad, para siyang notepad. Nasa gilid siya ng table ko. And I found it productive na, for example, may pumasok na idea. Parang I have to write para just to dump that idea. Para mag-focus ulit ako, parang ganun po.
I see.
Have you tried mind maps, Gian? Mga mind map? Hindi pa?
Hindi pa po.
You can check Dear Miro. Si Miro, meron siyang
Miro, tama.
ka na template doon. Kasi yung isang team member ko, doon din siya. Hindi siya medyo linear. Gusto niya, nakikita niya lahat ng dump, pero gusto niya makikita yung statuses ng assigned, in progress, to do, pending. May ganun sa Miro, dear. Free naman siya for 3 board. You could sign up. Na you could test it out. Sabihin ako, nalimutan ko yung may sinabi sa coach, mahalo ba yun? Anyways, wala na lang. Nawala ko. Sayang.
Well, anyway, Gian, it's your personal journey kasi when it comes to creating your own system. So try to know more about yourself, ano yung strengths, and this is as what Coach Daise said, and discover, try to test out kung ano yung mga system na yung parang easy. The most important thing is the system is easy for you. So
Ayun, naalala ko na, coach. In relation to sinabi ni Gia na brain dump, I do that a lot. Whenever I feel overwhelmed talaga, it's because our brain is full. Diba sabi ni Dave Allen, our brain is not to store ideas, it's to ideate and create. So kaya ka overwhelmed kasi puno, so nag-brain dump tayo. So in relation sa mga ideas, meron akong ideas list na mga idea lang naman, may nabasa ko, parang gusto ko rin to. Doon ko rin lang siya dinadab. Pero kaya ko siya nasa isang space kasi napapacify yung side of me na gusto ko control eh. Kasi pag sa notebook, hindi ko na structure yung notebook ko. Yung notebook ko walang structure. Talagang dumping lang siya, date lang, lista. Pero kung let's say, gusto kong balikan yung naisip kong idea nung March, hindi ko exactly mahanap sa notebook, matagal. Kaya ako naka-list para madali kong kumbaga na-pacify yung need for me to know where to find it again when I want to or when I recall, and then to capture information. Ay, magandang idea. Punta ako sa ideas list, type, dump, save. Tapos,
yes. Oo. Ganun din yung ginagawa ko sa sa iPhone na notes app. Doon ako nilalagay ko lahat para easily search lang and anytime makukuha ko sa pocket ko. So, ayan. Ayan, Gia.
Sa community ni Coach kung may nahanap ka ng the one. The system for you. There's no perfect one, ha? The perfect system is the one that you go along well with talaga. na mas
Yeah.
nasusustain.
Tama, tama. So ayun, Coach Days, to move forward pala sa ano natin, sa session natin kasi it's almost 8:30, magna-9 na. So, we just want to ask, what is your why forward? Yung why dito is it's just a play on words on what is your way forward. So, gusto namin tanungin to sa'yo to know what drives you to continue what you're doing right now. And after that, where can we find you and how can people reach out to you so that you can help them?
Oh, I like this question to close. Idea dump ko na yan. Screenshot save. Pero, yeah, my why forward talaga is two things. Number one, to personal reasons, to ensure that I get to do the work I love without losing myself in the process and without protecting my core, which is my family. So kaya ako lagi nag-a-align. Whatever offer I put out, whatever client I work with, they have to respect and protect the people I want to protect and value the most. So that's one. And my why forward externally is because I really want to develop more OBMs, confident system people, confident Filipino freelancers who are able to elevate the quality of their life because they are well informed with the opportunities for them to do so through freelancing, and also build and empower happy, financially stable, and confident women. That's my why.
Wow, ang galing. So, we need more systems people talaga, Coach Days. And then, Coach Days, where can we find you and how can people reach out to you para matulungan mo sila? Meron ka bang community na pwede nila ma-join? So, ayun.
Number one, any BTS community. Seriously, where you can find me, nagdaghang ako kasi nag-rebrand kami. Yeah, so I do have a free community as well. We'll share more about systems, alignment, empowerment, mindset, freelancing, and of course, if you want to be a project manager or OBM, you could go to Systemize Ops or Systemize. Sorry. Baka magalit sa akin si Abet, mali ang binigay kong group.
May link ka ba dyan? Pwede natin isend sa
Ayun, Systemize Ops Online Business Management, guys. So that's on Facebook, free community. May schedule lang si Abby of approving people. We build kasi our core value as a team. And isa doon is no work weekends. So you can request now, guys, but she's more likely gonna approve it on Monday. And then if you want to connect more, you could just connect with me on IG at Skill with Daise or on Facebook, Daise Virtudazo. Yun lang naman, Coach.
Ayun. So, thank you so much, Coach Days, no, for helping attending tonight and helping us in giving us clarity and alignment on how we can integrate yung branding with systems, processes, especially humanizing yung brands by humanizing din yung processes.
Yes.
So,
Can I request, Coach?
Yes.
Kasi as you know me, I always need I need to identify if what we're doing is working. So I need measures of success. So if you can, siguro guys, for anyone who's attending, share a thing or two sa community ni Coach Daise or on your own network. What like is your key takeaway or something that's talagang resonated with you the most out of our session for tonight? Just maybe tag Coach Daise, his team, Cyril, or myself, para we could know, okay, if this is helping, so that we'll know what Coach and myself would talk more on as well. And if you do that kasi, the learning is owned because you get to share it in your own words. And you also get to pay it forward by helping other people in your network that maybe may need to see this takeaway of yours.
Ayun. Talaga yan. We need your feedback, guys, so that we know how we can even help you better, improve ourselves, and improve our community. And speaking of community, Coach Daise, if and everyone who's not yet in the community who's attending the webinar tonight, you can join our community of purpose-driven freelancers and business owners sa Facebook group. Sai, can you send the link here sa chat? So if you want to create your own personal brand sa freelancing mo, kasi lahat naman tayo dito are freelancers and business owners, di ba? Kasi goal natin is to turn our freelancing career into a freelancing business or an agency. So you can join us in a community. You can also join Coach Daise community para ma-systemize nyo yung branding nyo. So, ayun guys, thank you so much. And any last words, Coach Daise, before we end yung ano natin, yung session natin?
Yes, well, number one, of course, thank you again, Coach Dave and your team and everyone who joined us in this session. I hope you learned something. Siguro if I would leave this talk, it would be, before you do anything, just check your intention for doing it. Because we only have one life to live, and know na you have the control over it. You have the pen to the story that is your life, to make sure that you're doing things that ultimately makes you happy. Yun lang, Coach.
Ayun. Thank you so much, Coach Daise.